right, we're on Niddah Perek Zayin Mishnah Hey, fifth Mishnah in the 7th chapter of Masechet Niddah. We're talking about the Kutim, and we talked about the idea in the last Mishnah that the Kutim were not ne'emanim for many areas of Tumah and Tahara. Specifically, remember we talked about the Beit HaTum'ot, that the women there would not properly bury their miscarriages. So now the Mishnah says, but regarding the Kutim, Ne'emanim lomar, they are reliable to say, Kavarnu sham et hanafalim. Oh, we buried our miscarriages over there in a certain place. Oh, lo kavarnu, or we haven't buried them down. Okay, why? The tumat made mi didoraita, because they acknowledge that tumat they weren't careful about in the women's, I guess, convalescent home, but they were tumat made is didoraita. They did hold of tumat made. So now the Bartanura says, I think based on the Gemara says the following. It has to be a certain case. There's a Kohen Kuti who's eating truma in that place. Why? We're not concerned. There is no need to be concerned that it's truma tme'ah, because they were concerned about truma and they did keep the dioraita. But the Bartanura says it had to be personally relevant for the Kuti himself. Because in other cases they're not ne'eman. They don't hold livnei iver. They don't have livnei iver. The Torah says you shall not put a stumbling block before a blind man. But remember, the Kutim and their interpretation was much more literal than Chazal's interpretation. Chazal learned livnei iver to be a broad injunction against taking advantage of people's weaknesses. So if I don't know, so it's an Isur, Chazal say, it's an Isur, it's a prohibition to engage in behavior that will cause me to violate a sin. That's an Isur Lifnei Iver. The Kutim are like, we don't know, that's not Lifnei Iver. The Torah doesn't forbid that. The Torah forbids putting a stumbling block in front of a blind man. They don't care if we sin because of them. Meaning, if it's personally relevant to them, then you can count on the fact that they care about their halacha. But they don't care about our halacha. You can see that the Chazal did not have such a positive view of Kutim. Similarly, they're reliable to say if the animal had a bechor, if it gave birth already to a firstborn or not. Okay. Similarly, the Bartanura says, "Hu shuri'inu oved v'gozezbo," and you see that the Kuti himself, he is working the animal, he is shearing the animal, because if it's not, he would not, because if it was a bechor, he would not work the animal or shear the animal himself. Ne'emanim al tziyun kvarot. They are reliable on tziyun kvarot, on tombstones. And if they put a tombstone, then they're reliable to say, okay, that's where a person was actually buried. They also had a pasuk that told you had to have a tombstone. Ve'ein ne'emanim lo al schachot, but they are not reliable on schachot. Schachot here refers to a tree that has different areas or it's passing tumah from one side to the other side, and you don't know exactly where the tumah is. Or praot. Praot is the same thing. Praot are protrusions from a wall. Similarly, it's passing tumah under the protrusion of the wall. V'lo beit hapras. Beit hapras, remember, or maybe you remember, is a field in which there was a grave that was plowed. And the Chazal were extremely machmir about this and said that 100 amot, a whole square 100 amot area, had to be treated as safek tuma. So the Kutim were not reliable for any of these cases. Why? He was not concerned about cases of safek tuma, and this was a case of schachot, a tree over the ground. Right? So the tree has different branches. You don't know where the tumah is. So in all these cases of safek tumah, the Kuti is not ne'eman. Zaklal. This is the rule. If there's something that they're suspect of, meaning they're not careful about, then if the guy tells you ask the Kuti, hey, what's the story? If he himself is not reliable, then you can't rely on his word to tell you what you should do as well. I think it's a general case. If someone doesn't care about kashrut, you can't ask him, is this kosher or not? Because it's not their particular priority. We'll stop here. As we always do, dedicate our learning to the memory of my father, Rav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Comments, questions, send me a telegram. I never got a telegram from people. Or a WhatsApp. Make it a great day.